What's up, y'all? KM Best here. I just hit Infinite, and I gotta show you the best deck that I used on my climb. So this is the list, and it may look a little bit confusing, but basically all that it is a stats deck. There are two people that deserve a ton of credit for this deck. The first is Revis, who was playing this kind of stuff last month, and the second is Lamby Series, who showed up in our group chat and was basically like, guys, I cooked it. It's the truth. Trust me. And he said, trust me twice. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to play this now. He said, trust me twice. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Owl God, who was playing something pretty similar to win the Kawa Clash tournament last month. It's not exactly the same list, but I just want to give a shout out to the people that were really experimenting with this when I was still a doubter. So I played the list and I went 18-3, 85% win rate to finish up my infinite climb. And it was just awesome. Now, I'm not 100% sure it has like true staying power, but I think it has more staying power than you think, because you look at this and you're like, oh, that's a gimmick. But what it actually is just a very efficient point machine. You are able to deploy a lot of points on the board while mostly dodging your opponent's removal in the form of Shang-Chi and Enchantress. Kitty Pryde is a key piece of this deck, and frankly, it's not necessarily because of how she scales up, but it's more because she always triggers your Silk, she always triggers your Angela, she just gets a ton of work done. There are a lot of awkward turns, right? Like without her, you wouldn't really have a lot of turn 1 plays. She's obviously your best turn 1 play, but also your turn 3 tends to be like a 2. And so you need to play something alongside that too. So if you go like Angela on 2 and then Silk Kitty, get that Silk moving around, get that Miles happening. There's a lot of really important 2s in this deck. You're often playing a 2-on-2 and a 2-on-3. Kitty helps facilitate that, in addition to just being a very big threat. One of the things that Kitty helps you do is give your opponent priority, because you're gaining the power on Kitty, but she's going back to your hand. So you are unable to get really damaged by removal unless the stuff is already on the board. In line with that, do keep an eye on your Angelas. You don't want to really take them above 8 power. This is a pretty important thing, because once your Angelas hit Shang-Chi range, that is one of the ways you can actually lose. Nightcrawler is a card that I added in here with the idea that, again, since so many of our plays involve a 2 into a 2 on 2 and 3, I would want to smooth that out a bit. Another thing that I really felt like I wanted was another 1-cost card so I could trigger Silk more easily. And that is definitely what Nightcrawler helps us do. He has other synergies, of course, Kraven and Angela. You put him in the Angela lane, you move him to the Kraven lane, he's a ton of points. The same sort of stuff you can do with Jeff. Basically, he's just some additional flexibility. I look at him like training wheels. When Lamby played this deck, he played Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster to me was only ever good when it was hitting exactly Jeff or Kitty. If it was hitting basically anything else, it often made it into a reasonable Shang-Chi target, and I wanted to avoid having any of those entirely. So I opted for the training wheels of having Nightcrawler in the deck, adding a ton of flexibility on the final turns of the game, and really adding a lot of ambiguity in terms of where your power actually is on the board. In addition, Revis, the person who was playing this deck last month, the first person I ever saw playing things along these lines, was already running Nightcrawler, so I feel pretty justified in bringing him back into the list. I think he's just a very solid card for this spot, just kind of exactly what you want to be doing. Angela is one of the best cards in Marvel Snap and has been basically for a year now. What she's good at specifically is being very large for a very small investment. This deck is incredible at moving stuff off of the Angela lane. Obviously, we have Jeff, we have Nightcrawler, we have Kitty, we have Spider-Man, we have all sorts of stuff that gets stuff off of the Angela lane and lets her get increasingly large. And that is really important, but you do have to keep in mind that if your opponent is playing Shang-Chi, you need to respect it. And that means that you need to not make her too large before the final turn of the game, so she can't get Shang-Chi'd on that turn. Again, priority often plays into this. If you have an 8-power Angela and they Shang-Chi you, you can't play anything on that Angela on the final turn, or it will die to the Shang. Kraven has been a little worse than you think, but bad Angela is really not that bad. One of the most important things to do with this deck is get Silk bouncing around, and then once you get Silk bouncing around, Craven just goes to like 4 or 6, and you're totally fine with like a 2-4, a 2-6. There's even more upside in this build of the deck with Craven because you have not just Silk moving around, you have Jeff that can go to the Craven lane, you have Spider-Man that can take stuff to the Craven lane, you have Nightcrawler that can go to the Craven lane, just a bunch of things that give you control over how large you want him to be. He is much less of a threat to actually get bigger than 9 power. He's much less going to be Shang-Chi'd, but it can happen, and you do have to keep it in mind. It's just not that likely to happen. Do keep in mind when you Spider-Man to the Craven lane, that will add both Spider-Man and the card he drags over to that lane. Jeff is maybe the best card in Marvel Snap, and it has synergy with the deck that we are trying to play, and it's very good against Professor X, which is usually pretty good against us. There's no reason not to run this card. Silk is almost the engine of the deck. One of the things I found myself doing as I played was just getting a Silk running and then keeping it running by just playing a bunch of cards so that my Miles Morales would always cost 1. That's really the big thing that she does. Like, yeah, she gives you extra Angela procs and Craven procs if you can get it, but mostly she's a guaranteed way of making sure that Miles Morales costs 1. A 1/5 is very powerful. You go through a lot of effort to make Kitty a 1/5. Miles can just be a 1/5. It's a very solid thing to be. I think it's quite strong, and I'm definitely interested in exploring this shell a little bit further because once you have Silk really going, you are able to just get ahead, and because so many decks are relying on things like Shang-Chi and Enchantress that are absolute blank cards against you, you really get to put a lot of points on the board without having to worry about what they're doing. New Spider-Man is unbelievable. First things first, he is a guaranteed pull when you play Miles Morales, so he's always going to turn Miles on. He can move himself out of the Angela lane. He can move other stuff. He can be removal. He's just awesome. One pitfall that I think you might want to pay attention to is if the lane that he is trying to move to is full, he won't move anything. And I know that sounds like a very obvious thing, but keep in mind when you're playing him later in the game, if your opponent can fill up the lane that you really want him to go to. By the same token, he does prioritize open lanes, so there is some upside there. Like, you have to sort of figure out how he works, but once you understand how he works, it's a very sort of clear shot from there. But basically, he makes Miles cost less, he has a great stat line, he frees up your Angela lane, he can make your Craven bigger, he makes your Craven a lot bigger if you win that roll, because he's pulling himself and another card over there that's 2 Craven procs. It's very powerful. Shang-Chi is an unfortunate concession to the fact that there are some things you just can't beat. And one of the things I'd actually considered in here is like, can we get Enchantress in here too? I really wouldn't hate it. I'd think the cut would be Nightcrawler, but I didn't feel like I actually needed it because basically your win condition against Darkhawk decks, which are kind of where you want Enchantress, is going to be something a lot more along the lines of just blanking their cards, right? Outside of Darkhawk, they tend to not really go that tall, and so you blank their Enchantress and you blank their Shang-Chi, and suddenly they're really not doing a lot, and you have enough power usually to contest the Darkhawk lane, barring some extreme circumstances, and that puts you in a really good spot. You only really need just the Shang here, and he is really good. There are a lot of situations in which he is the only option you have, and that is just the story of Shang-Chi in this metagame. No matter what people do, he is just good. He will win you games. He is just a powerful option to have, and I have not regretted including him at all. Captain Marvel is a bit of a newer addition to the list, and I don't necessarily think she was always the best option here, but as a 4/5, I tend to be playing her a lot on turn 5 alongside, say, a Miles or a Kitty, rather than just like curving her out on turn 4. She's a very complex card in this list. Like, my default was just like, oh, I'll slap her on Angela. But there are a lot of unique situations wherein you need to think about all of the possible outcomes and then what she can do about them. So definitely a very tough card to accurately plan for. Luckily, she does bail you out a lot of the time. But if you can plan for her, that is always better than if she is covering your ass. Miles Morales is so good in this deck. He is just amazing. I think the real key to this deck is just free-rolling Miles Morales, free-rolling Kitties. The idea is basically you'll just put a lot of points on the board and their removal won't be good against you. And that is just good enough right now. And Miles is exactly in this middle zone where he is just absolutely fine. He is a fine card, and if you get him discounted, which you probably will, he is going to get the job done. Now, you do have to really plan ahead here. Like, if you don't have the other movers, you have to be like, all right, I'm going to play Jeff now and then move Jeff the next turn. I'm going to play Nightcrawler now, move Nightcrawler the next turn. Do I want to play Legion plus Miles on the final turn? Do I want to play Captain Marvel plus Miles on turn 5? What am I really trying to accomplish here, and which of these plays will benefit me the most? It'll come up a lot. Legion is your anti-scam tech. There's still magic decks running around. There are still locations that are really bad for you. And Legion is just a good card, a high skill cap card that is just a solid option at the 5-cost slot. He was very, very powerful for me, but not like irreplaceably so. He's just really good. And you don't have a lot of location control otherwise, or I should say you have no location control otherwise. And Legion is sort of the most foolproof location control you can get because you can't get Cosmoed on the Magic lane. And generally, he's basically always going to work. And he's usually going to do something pretty compelling when he does. Now, do keep in mind, there are situations where you aren't going to want to play him. Like, you're a lot better than most decks on closed-off locations. So you're not always Legioning, but a lot of the time, just having the option for him is extremely powerful. He's going to be played a lot. There are very few situations where he's actively bad for you, and having control over the locations in the game is just a valuable thing to have. He also, crucially, does not get hit by Shang-Chi. Finally, we run America Chavez just to draw our cards more. That is the entire logic behind her. I would totally understand if you wanted to cut her. I am a bit of a Chavez truther in any deck with Kitty, in any deck with some required early drops. I become a bit more of a Chavez truther. We want to get our engine going. Kitty, Silk, Angela, Kraven, some combination of these cards. We want them every game. And we kind of want them every game as much as we possibly can. And we're not really married to getting Kitty on one. We're fine with just a 1-drop, like 2 2s and a 1x3. That's cool. But we really need that. And so that is why I have the America Chavez in here. It's not like there's a ton of great top decks in this list. In addition to that, like, there's just not a lot of stuff where like, ah, yes, I needed to rip that. But I think mostly it's about I want to do the plan as consistently as possible. And I think that I'm happy with her as of right now. We'll see what happens in the future as people start to adapt to this deck, or God forbid, as mirrors crop up, because that seems nightmarish, but we will have to see. This is a very solid mid-range list that I really enjoyed playing, so huge shoutouts to Revis, huge shoutouts to Lamby series. I was not on this archetype, and Revis was like a month ago, and I wasn't on this archetype until Lamby was like, dude, you gotta trust me, you gotta play this. I played it, and he was right, it's very good. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, remember, like, subscribe if you made it this far. We're going to put some gameplay on the back end. I know you might be used to Conquest, but this one's actually, we're just going to put a couple of ladder games on there so you can see what I was doing, because I used this deck on my climb to infinity with very good results. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I've been Cam Best. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. You could reasonably ban the guy for that, I think. I can't wait to pull Shang-Chi and have it not blow up a thing when they pull a 12-power guy. Oh, that'll work. We'll just pull our entire hands. Cool. Who is this worse for? Me. Oh, definitely me. Oh, definitely me. Me without question. That's the freest abomination I've ever seen in my life. Yikes! Boy, that's a free abomination. My God. I have literally no idea what's happening right now. Horrifying. Ooh. Ooh. Interesting situation we find ourselves in here, chat. So check out what Captain Marvel gets to do here. Now, she's only 2, though. That's an issue. Okay, so what we do is we move the Jeff over here. We play this over here. And Captain Marvel can try to win us the game. Or, alternatively, we roll the 50-50, put the Chavez here, move the Jeff here. Silicon Block Marvel, I know. But I don't think we have a better play. Captain Marvel's only a tie mid. Well, I mean, we could move Jeff and then just, like, play Captain Marvel mid if we're boring. Okay. We'll be boring. It's fine. We'll be boring. No! Oh, it's okay. She moves and it's fine. All right, I was worried. I was like, holy fuck, it blocks our Captain Marvel. No! I was gonna lose it. Okay, we're gonna play the Silk. You tried Dakin yet? I have not. Let's get her moving, I guess. Woo! Look at that Craven stacking them up. Stacking them up. Where are you going, Luke? Ooh, intriguing. Interesting. There's so many things happening right now. It's really confusing. There are just so many things happening right now that I just don't even have a real read on it. Stuff is happening out the wazoo, though. Boy, is stuff happening. Oh, buddy. Stuff is happening like a motherfucker. We winning this? Yes. Making the read that the answer is yes. Why is Hulkbuster getting this? It mostly isn't, I think. Hazmat. All right, cool. Rogue, dope. And now we win. Cool. Boom! The numbers are crazy. She still moves. Oh. I thought it would be more of a null death top end. So did I. I wish I knew what I wanted the 1 to be. Ravens with multiple Jeffs seems like very fucked up. What am I missing here? How do they Galactus me ever? Holy shit. Kitty. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Spider-Man stops Galactus? Sure does, if I want it to. How can I get the new Big in Japan skins? I don't know. How can you get the new... Does anyone know, chat? Because I truly do not. Mid, let's go. Oh, the perfect one. I love that you moved all this stuff there. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. I really appreciate it. Over here. I gotta imagine they just did, is the thing. But I'll give them credit for trying. Okay, sure. You got it. Go ahead and retreat now. You can go. Solid 4-cube saber there. Really, definitely, they would never have gotten those cubes otherwise. There's no way they could have known that that game was lost. Without Kang, they could never have known, all right? There's no... You cannot tell them that they could have known that. How could they have known without Kang? How could they possibly have known? Chat. Can Spider-Man grab an unrevealed card? Yes. Okay, well, I hate that. I like that a little more. Yeah, it's a 50-50 game, right? Just, always hard to tell what that pesky Kang will do, you know? Who could have known? Classic Destroyer play, yes. I'm gonna give them a 1-cost Miles. I just realized that. I'm gonna give them a 1-cost Miles. I mean, unless, right? Like, unless it's just like... They get a 1-cost Miles. Can we go to Kamartage? Yes, get rid of that Warpath. I love that for me. It's not like I'm actually gonna win that, but I could, in theory, win that, right? Boy, this hand is ass! Holy! Destroyer's bad. God, Bucky left, Kitty right. I think it's actually just 8. They can go to 11. Oh no, we have this, right? Then we just say she'll go wherever she's needed. All right, I trust you, Carol. No, my goblin! Oh shit, I'm fucked! Am I fucked? I mean, I have Captain Marvel. 5, 10. We're fucked. I'm an idiot. I forgot I gave them another card that could go there. I just lost 8 cubes to a bot. Oh my god. I forgot I gave them the Hulkbuster, lost 8 cubes to a bot that I gave the cards to beat me, and now instead of being infinite, I'm 97. I hate the bots. They should at least have the decency to just donate the cubes. Fuck. Why not play Destroyer? Because we gave them the Miles. I just forgot they had another card. I thought it was Miles and another 2 cards they couldn't play in there. That's what I thought was happening. It was a Miles and 2 cards they couldn't play in there. And it was not that. God damn it. Dude, we need another 1-drop bad. Why did you get a Sentinel? When you have Zabu, what's the upside of getting Sentinel? Okay. This is winnable. Yeah, see, I have one of those too. That's the cool thing. Darkhawk is very large. Woo! Look at all those movements. that are happening. Intriguing. Rage, I think I got this. I think I got this. Miles. Silk. Holy shit. All right. Let's go, Craven. What? It won't neither of them go to Kiln? My god. Neither of them go to Kiln. Am I just dead? Am I just super incredibly dead? I think I might just be dead, but I'm gonna play it out. Because who the fuck knows what happens from here? I have no idea anymore. At all. No clue. They're shanging your Angela. I do expect that. It's like Shang plus... Jesus, I actually don't know. But they play something on both lanes, is I think my read. I don't even know if that changes anything. Fuck. I'm not thinking through this. The first one will move. First play... Sorry. The Captain Marvel that is played second will be the one to move. I think this is my best play. I truly have no idea. Why are they routinely... Wait, what are... Oh, they're just dead. Right? They're just actually dead. So, like, the cards on the board. Never Kiln. Thank you. Fuck. There Captain Marvel goes, and nothing happens. My god. I'm a little bit surprised they stayed in that one.